The static wasn't supposed to be there. Not in the dead silence of deep space, where nothing should have been speaking at all. But Dr. Olivia Mercer heard it, a whisper threading through the emptiness, a voice that didn't belong to any human. Help us. It wasn't a plea. It was a warning. And by the time she realized the truth, that the abandoned alien city humming on their scanners wasn't abandoned, wasn't even alien, it was already too late. The ghosts had been waiting, and they weren't begging for help. Please wait. Before we start, tap that card in the top right corner and smash that subscribe button right now. Hit the notification bell so you're first in line when new stories land. Also, you can check the Alien Paradox playlist for more exciting stories. There's a question hidden in the pinned comment below. Crack the code by watching the complete story and answer the question. Alright, let's dive into the story. The static crackled through DR. Olivia, Liv, Mercer's headset like a persistent insect, a sound that had no business interrupting the dead silence of deep space. She frowned, adjusting the frequency dial with quick, practiced flicks of her fingers. At 32, she was the youngest and, according to some of her more stuffy colleagues, the most reckless xenoarchaeologist in the United Earth Coalition. Her form-fitting environmental suit, sleek and black with silver reinforcements, clung to her every curve, designed for agility rather than modesty. Right now, though, the only thing on her mind was the bizarre noise disrupting her scans. Liv, you hearing this? Marcus Rook's deep voice rumbled behind her, too close, as usual. The 35-year-old pilot leaned over her shoulder, his dark eyes scanning the console with suspicion. The jagged scar running down his left cheek, a souvenir from their last ill-fated expedition, twitched as he clenched his jaw. Liv didn't answer immediately. The static had shifted, forming something almost like a pattern. No, not just a pattern. A voice. Help us. The words slithered into her ears, whispered in a language that shouldn't exist. A cold shiver raced down her spine. Marcus exhaled sharply through his nose. That's not one of ours. Liv's lips curled into a grin, her pulse kicking up a notch. No, she murmured, fingers hovering over the controls. It's theirs. Theirs who? Marcus snapped, straightening up. Because if this is another one of your let's poke the ancient alien tech ideas, I'm vetoing it right now. Liv rolled her eyes. You don't get a veto, Rook. You're the pilot, not the mission lead. And you're the one who nearly got US eaten by that sentient fungus on Kepler 9 he shot back. That was one time. The transmission crackled again, cutting her off. This time, the voice was clearer, more desperate. Please, they're coming back. Liv and Marcus exchanged a glance. Even he looked unsettled now. You think it's a distress signal? He muttered. Or a trap, Liv admitted. But since when has that ever stopped us? Marcus groaned. I hate it when you say things like that. Liv ignored him, already tracing the signal's origin. The coordinates led to a sector marked as empty on all charts, a dead zone where no celestial bodies were supposed to exist. Yet there was a faint, pulsing blip on the radar. Something's out there, she whispered. Marcus crossed his arms. Yeah, and if horror vids have taught me anything, it's that we should turn the ship around and pretend we never heard this. Leave Smear, kid. Good thing we're not in a horror vid then. He gave her a flat look. Yet, the console beeped again, this time with an incoming data packet, an image. Liv pulled it up and her breath caught. Floating in the void was a city, or what looked like one towering spire of blackened metal. Twisted bridges connecting skeletal structures, all of it bathed in an eerie, flickering glow. Marcus went very still. That's impossible. Nothing human built that. Liv's fingers tightened around the edge of the console. No, she agreed softly. But someone did, and it was calling for help. The ship's engines hummed as Liv input the new coordinates. Marcus groaned. We're going, aren't we? Liv shot him a look. You got a better plan? Yeah, sleep. For like a decade. She laughed, but her stomach twisted with anticipation. This was it. The kind of discovery she'd spent her career chasing. A first contact, a lost civilization, or if Marcus was right, their graves. Either way, she wasn't backing down now. Set a course, she ordered. Marcus muttered something unflattering under his breath, but obeyed. As the ship lurched forward, the static whispered one last time, "They are waiting." And then there was only silence. The ship shuddered violently as it breached the city's outer shell, metallic groans echoing through the hull like a dying beast. Liv's boots hit the uneven surface with a heavy thud, the gravity stabilizers in her suit whirring to compensate. Dust swirled around her in lazy spirals. Centuries of undisturbed silence, now broken by human intrusion. Marcus stepped out behind her, pulse rifle already in hand. "Remind me again why we didn't just scan this place from orbit?" "Because scanners lie," Liv said, running a gloved hand along the nearest wall. The blackened metal felt strangely warm beneath her touch. "And ghosts don't show up on thermal." Dr. Elias Vance, their resident biologist, emerged last, his salt and pepper beard twitching as he scowled at the towering spires surrounding them. At 40, he moved with the cautious precision of someone who'd seen one too many discoveries turn deadly. No energy signatures, no life signs, just ruins. He tapped his wrist scanner for emphasis. "This place is dead, Mercer." Liv's headlamp cut through the gloom as she stepped further in. "Then why does it feel like we're being watched?" A shadow flickered at the edge of her vision, too fast to be dust. She spun, heart pounding, but there was nothing. Just the endless maze of twisted metal, and was that whispering? Marcus tightened his grip on his rifle. "Okay, new plan. We take some surface samples, snap a few pics for the eggheads back home, and get the hell out of here. Some old buildings seriously spook you?" Liv teased, though her pulse hadn't quite settled. "Buildings don't whisper, Liv." His jaw worked, and they sure as hell don't move. Elias adjusted his scanner, the blue light reflecting off his weathered face. He's not wrong. These structures show signs of molecular instability. Could be some kind of residual energy. A metallic screech cut him off as a section of wall shifted 20 feet ahead, grinding like broken bones. All three froze. "That wasn't us," Marcus breathed. Liv took a cautious step forward. "Hello." The whisper came again, closer now, a chorus of voices just beneath hearing. The air itself seemed to vibrate with them. Marcus grabbed her arm. "We're leaving. Now." She shook him off. "Did you hear that?" "It said, 'Help us,'" Elias finished, face pale. "But that's impossible. There's nothing alive here." The ground trembled slightly beneath their feet. Dust rained from the ceiling. Liv's headlamp caught movement in the darkness ahead. A figure, tall and impossibly thin, its elongated limbs shimmering like heat haze. It had no face, just two hollow pits where eyes should be. Marcus's rifle snapped up. "Don't move." The thing tilted its head. When it spoke, the voice came from everywhere at once. "You came." Elias stumbled back, scanner clattering to the ground. "Projection. Has to be some kind of recording." Liv's breath came fast, but she stood her ground. "Who are you?" The figure flickered like a dying hologram. "The last. The trapped. The ones who waited." Another shape materialized beside it, then another, until the corridor was filled with shimmering forms. Their whispery voices overlapped in a chaotic chorus. Marcus backed toward the exit, rifle trembling. "Liv, we need to go. Right now." One of the figures stretched a wispy hand toward them. The core must be stopped. Then the walls began to move. Metal screamed as the corridor behind them collapsed, cutting off their retreat. The floor tilted violently, sending Elias crashing into Liv. Marcus grabbed them both, shoving them toward a side passage. "Run!" The last thing Liv saw before the darkness swallowed them was the ghostly figures watching, their hollow eyes burning with something like hope. And beneath the chaos of grinding metal and panicked breathing, the whispers followed. "Before they wake up." Liv's shoulder slammed into the wall as the corridor pitched violently beneath them. The impact sent a jolt of pain through her ribs, but she barely registered it over the deafening screech of twisting metal. Marcus's grip on her arm was the only thing keeping her upright as the floor continued to tilt at a sickening angle. "Move!" Marcus roared, shoving her forward into the side passage just as the ceiling collapsed behind them with a thunderous crash. Dust billowed through the air, choking and thick. Elias coughed violently, fumbling for his fallen scanner. "We're trapped. The entire structure is rearranging itself." Liv wiped grit from her eyes, her headlamp cutting a shaky beam through the swirling debris. The ghostly figures had vanished, but their whispers still echoed through the walls, growing louder, more urgent. "The core, stop the core." Marcus checked his rifle's charge with a practiced flick of his wrist. "Great. Haunted and falling apart. Just how I wanted to spend my weekend." Liv ignored him, pressing a hand against the vibrating wall. The metal pulsed faintly beneath her palm, like a slow heartbeat. "It's not random. The city's guiding us somewhere." Elias gave her a wild look. "Or hurting us." A new sound cut through the whispers, a deep, rhythmic thumping that vibrated through their boots. Marcus's head snapped up. "Tell me that's just the building settling." The thumping grew louder. Closer. Liv's mouth went dry. "That's not the building." The corridor ahead curved sharply, their headlamps illuminating strange glyphs carved into the walls, symbols that seemed to twist and writhe in the flickering light. The air grew thicker, humming with energy that made Liv's teeth ache. Elias adjusted his scanner, hands shaking. "Energy readings are spiking. There's some kind of power source ahead." A blood-curdling shriek echoed from the darkness behind them. All three spun as one. Something moved in the shadows. Something big. Marcus raised his rifle, the weapon's targeting beam cutting through the gloom. "Whatever you are, stay back." The thing stepped into the light. Liv's breath caught. It was humanoid, but stretched and warped like melted wax. Its skin glistened black, shifting between solid and liquid as it moved. Where a face should have been, there was only a gaping maw lined with needle-like teeth. Elias made a strangled noise. "That's impossible. Molecular instability shouldn't." The creature tilted its head, as if studying them. Then it charged. "Run!" Liv skriet. They bolted down the corridor, the creature's pounding footsteps shaking the ground beneath them. The walls seemed to close in, the glyphs glowing brighter as they passed. Marcus fired blindly behind them, the pulse rounds lighting up the tunnel in strobing flashes. "Keep moving. There's an opening ahead." Liv risked a glance back. The creature was gaining, its form shifting and reforming with each step. Then the floor dropped out from under them. They fell into darkness, landing in a tangled heap on a lower level. Liv gasped as the wind was knocked from her lungs, stars dancing in her vision. Marcus groaned beside her. "Next time, we send drones first." Elias scrambled to his feet, scanner beeping frantically. "We're in some kind of central chamber." Liv forced herself up, her headlamp illuminating a vast, circular room. At its center stood a massive black sphere, its surface rippling like oil on water. The whispers became a roar. "The core. Destroy it." The creature landed behind them with a wet thud, its body reforming into something even more monstrous. Marcus raised his rifle. "Any bright ideas, geniuses?" Liv's eyes darted between the sphere and the advancing creature. Then she saw it. A human skeleton fused into the machinery near the sphere. Wearing a UEC uniform, Elias followed her gaze, his face going slack with horror. That's impossible." The creature lunged. Liv dove for the skeleton as Marcus opened fire. Her fingers closed around a rusted ID tag. "Captain Daniel Hargrove. Missing, 2175. The whispers stopped. The creature froze, and the sphere began to glow. The sphere pulsed with sickly green light, casting grotesque shadows across the chamber. Liv's fingers trembled around the rusted ID tag as the creature stood motionless, its liquid form quivering like a plucked wire. Marcus kept his rifle trained on the thing, his voice tight. Anyone else getting the feeling we just walked into someone else's nightmare? Elias scrambled to Liv's side, his scanner beeping erratically. Hargrove's crew disappeared 60 years ago. What the hell is a skeleton doing inside this machine? Liv turned the ID tag over, revealing a series of scratched symbols matching those on the walls. It didn't just find this place. They built it. The sphere's glow intensified, illuminating strange conduits running from its base into the walls. The whispers returned, but now they were clearer, human voices mixed with the alien ones. Containment failing, must stabilize the core. The creature shuddered violently, its form flickering between the monstrous shape and something more human. For a brief moment, Liv saw a face, a man's face, twisted in agony. Marcus lowered his rifle slightly. What the? Elias grabbed his arm. Don't. That's not a person anymore. The sphere emitted a high-pitched whine. Sections of the chamber's walls slid open, revealing more of the black creatures. Dozens of them, all frozen in place like grotesque statues. Liv's breath came in short gasps. It's a prison. The sphere is keeping them trapped. Not trapped. A new voice whispered, clearer than the others. Changed. The first creature spasmed again, its form solidifying into something almost human. When it spoke, its voice was a broken parody of a man's. Hargrove thought he could control it. The core rewrote us. Marcus backed toward the exit. Okay, new plan. We leave before we end up like them. Liv stood her ground. Wait, if this thing rewrote them, maybe we can reverse it. Elias shook his head violently. Are you insane? We don't even know what it is. The semi-human creature took a shuddering step forward. The core absorbs, integrates. Hargrove wanted its power, but it wanted us. The sphere pulsed again, brighter this time. The other creatures began twitching, their forms flickering. Marcus grabbed Liv's arm. We need to go now. The first creature let out a guttural scream as its body began dissolving. Destroy it. Before it wakes fully. The chamber trembled. Dust rained from the ceiling as the sphere's light intensified, the whispers rising to a deafening roar. Elias's scanner exploded in a shower of sparks. The energy readings are off the charts. Liv's eyes darted between the sphere and the deteriorating creature. How do we destroy it? The creature's form was half gone now, its voice fading. The skeleton could override. Then it collapsed into a puddle of black sludge. All around them, the other creatures began moving. Marcus cursed and fired at the nearest one. The pulse round passed straight through its liquid form. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Liv sprinted to Hargrove's skeleton, examining the machinery around it. There's some kind of control panel here. Elias joined her, wiping sweat from his brow. If we trigger an overload, the creatures surged forward as one. Marcus backed toward them, firing wildly. Whatever you're doing, do it faster. Liv's fingers flew over the ancient controls. The symbols matched those on Hargrove's tag. I think I can. The floor lurched violently. From deep below came a sound like a monstrous heartbeat. The sphere's light turned blood red. And then the real screaming began. The scream wasn't coming from the creatures. It wasn't even human. It was the city itself, the very metal around them shrieking as the sphere's crimson light pulsed like a diseased heart. Liv's fingers slipped on the ancient controls as the floor bucked beneath them. Elias, what's happening? The biologist clung to the console, his face lit in hellish red. The core's destabilizing. It's like the whole city's coming alive. Marcus fired another useless shot at the advancing creatures. Tell me you've got that override working. Liv punched in the final sequence from Hargrove's tag. The console sparked violently, throwing her back. For one terrible second, nothing happened. Then the sphere screamed. A shockwave of energy blasted outward, sending the creatures flying. The ones it touched dissolved mid-air, their forms unraveling into swirling black mist. The remaining monsters froze, their liquid bodies vibrating violently. Marcus grabbed Liv's shoulder. "What did you do?" She coughed, tasting copper. "I think I just pissed it off." The sphere's surface rippled like boiling tar. The whispers became a chorus of agonized shrieks, human and alien voices blending in torment. The walls around them began to bleed, dark liquid oozing from the metal seams. Elias scrambled back in horror. "It's rejecting them. The core is purging the integrated matter." One of the semi-liquid creatures crawled toward them, its human face flickering in and out of existence. "Run, while you still can," it gurgled. "It knows you're here now." The chamber shook violently as massive cracks spiderwebbed across the floor. The sphere began rising from its housing, suspended in a crackling energy field. Marcus hauled Liv to her feet. "Time to go." Elias pointed to a newly revealed tunnel. "There! That wasn't there before." They sprinted as the sphere's light turned blinding white. Behind them, the remaining creatures were being pulled toward it, their forms stretching like taffy before being absorbed. Liv risked a glance back just as the sphere pulsed again. For a split second, she saw them, dozens of faces swirling in its depths, mouths open in silent screams. Human, alien, all trapped. Then the ceiling collapsed behind them, sealing the chamber with a thunderous crash. They ran through twisting corridors as the city convulsed around them. Walls melted and reformed. Strange symbols glowed electric blue before burning out. Marcus dodged the falling beam. "Remind me again why we didn't become botanists." Elias gasped for breath. "Almost there. Ships just ahead." They burst into the docking bay to find their vessel still intact, but the exit doors were sealing shut. Liv's heart sank. No. Marcus sprinted for the controls. "I got this." He jammed his rifle into the closing mechanism, the metal screeching in protest. Go! They dove through the narrowing gap just as the rifle snapped in half. The door sealed with a final, ominous thud. Inside the ship, Marcus collapsed into the pilot's seat, hands shaking as he fired up the engines. Next time, museum. As they lifted off, the city began to fold in on itself, spires collapsing like a house of cards. The sphere's light pierced through the crumbling structure, a blinding white beacon. Then just as suddenly it winked out. The city imploded silently in the vacuum, leaving only drifting debris. Elias stared at the view screen. "It's gone." Liv didn't answer. She was staring at her hand, where a single drop of the black liquid from the sphere had landed. It moved, then it sank into her skin. Marcus turned from the controls. "Liv, you okay?" She quickly closed her fist. "Yeah, just thinking." Outside, something flickered in the wreckage, a wisp of black smoke that curled briefly into humanoid form before dispersing. Liv exhaled slowly. It was over, wasn't it? Liv clenched her fist tighter, the spot where the black liquid had vanished still tingling unnaturally. She turned away from the viewport before Marcus could notice her unease, forcing her voice to stay steady. "Set course for the nearest UEC outpost. We need to report this." Marcus's hands flew over the controls, his usual sarcasm replaced by uncharacteristic focus. "Already on it, though I'm not sure how we explain any of this." Elias slumped into a chair, wiping sweat from his brow. "Start with we found Hardro's remains and leave out the haunted alien death sphere part until we're safely behind a dozen containment fields." The ship shuddered as it cleared the debris field. Liv stared at the swirling wreckage on the view screen, half expecting to see those hollow eyes staring back. Marcus frowned at his console. "That's weird. Our comms are picking up interference." Liv's stomach dropped. "What kind of interference?" Before he could answer, the ship's AI chimed in with its calm, synthetic voice. "Unauthorized data, transmission detected. Source, internal systems." All three of them froze. Elias slowly turned to Liv. Please tell me you didn't bring a souvenir. She opened her mouth to deny it when her forearm burned. The skin where the black liquid had entered now showed faint, swirling patterns, just like the city's glyphs. Marcus saw it and immediately reached for the medkit. Oh hell no, we are not doing the alien possession thing today. Liv pulled away. It's not. She gasped as the symbols pulsed with dark light. A voice that wasn't hers whispered from her lips. They're coming. The ship's lights flickered violently. Warning alarms blared as every console lit up with emergency alerts. Elias grabbed the scanner, hands shaking. Energy surged from the wreckage. Something still out there. On the view screen, the debris field began swirling like a slow-motion whirlpool. At its center, a pinprick of red light appeared, growing larger by the second. Marcus swore and slammed the throttle. Hang on! The ship lurched forward just as a tendril of black energy lashed out from the light, barely missing their hull. More followed, snapping through space like hungry vipers. Liv clutched her arm as the symbols spread toward her shoulder. The alien voice spoke again, clearer now. The core survives. It remembers you. Elias frantically worked the scanners. It's some kind of energy construct, a backup of the sphere's consciousness. Marcus dodged another tendril, his knuckles white on the controls. How do we kill it? Liv's vision swam. Images flooded her mind. The city in its prime, Hargrove's crew working on the sphere, the terrible moment of integration. She gasped. It needs an anchor, a physical form to rebuild itself. The realization hit all three of them at once. Marcus's eyes locked onto Liv's corrupted arm. Oh no. No. The ship shuddered as a massive tendril grazed the hull. Warning lights flashed as systems began failing. Elias grabbed Liv's shoulders. We have to contain it before it fully bonds with you. Liv's head pounded as two voices fought for control, hers and the whispers. The med bay, isolation chamber. Marcus didn't hesitate. He punched in a course correction. The nearest UEC station has quarantine facilities. 8 minutes away. Another impact rocked the ship. The red light behind them was growing, taking on a distinct spherical shape. Elias helped Liv toward the med bay, his voice low and urgent. Fight it, Liv. Whatever it's telling you, it lies. She stumbled, the alien voice growing stronger. We can save you, make you more. The isolation chamber hissed open just as the ship lurched violently. Marcus's voice crackled over the intercom. We're losing engines. Liv collapsed into the chamber, her entire arm now covered in pulsing glyphs. The last thing she saw before the door sealed was Elias's terrified face and the shadow moving behind him. Darkness swallowed her, and in the darkness, something waited. The isolation chamber's sterile white light burned Liv's eyes as she struggled against the alien presence spreading through her veins. The whispering voice had become a roar, drowning out her thoughts. You'll be the new core, the new beginning. Liv slammed her fist against the transparent wall. Like hell I will. Outside, the ship shuddered violently. Red emergency lights strobed through the med bay as Elias frantically worked the controls. His voice came through the intercom, strained with panic. Liv, hold on. We're almost. The transmission cut off as another impact rocked the ship. Through the viewport, Liv saw it. The red sphere reforming itself from the debris, tendrils of energy lashing toward them like angry serpents. Marcus's voice crackled over the ship-wide comm. Elias, get to the bridge now. We need to. A burst of static, then silence. Liv's breath came in ragged gasps as the black veins reached her collarbone. The alien presence whispered its terrible promises. No more pain, no more death, only perfection. She squeezed her eyes shut, fighting to remember. Hargrove's logs, the control sequence, the way the creatures had begged for release. Her eyes snapped open. Elias, Her voice was hoarse. The containment protocol. From Hargrove's notes. Elias turned from the console, face pale. It'll kill you. Liv pressed her palm against the glass. It'll kill it. Do it. A shadow moved behind Elias. One of the black tendrils seeping through the ship's vents. Liv screamed a warning just as it struck, wrapping around Elias's throat. The chamber door hissed open. Liv didn't think. She launched herself at the tendril, her corrupted hand burning where it made contact. The alien presence inside her recognized the invader and recoiled. Elias gasped free, scrambling back. Liv, your arm. The black veins were receding, flowing out of her skin and into the attacking tendril. The sphere's voice shrieked in her mind. No, you are ours. Liv grinned through the pain. Wrong. I'm the damn key. She grabbed the tendril with both hands. The glyphs on her arm flared blinding white as the alien essence reversed course, not invading her now, but being pulled from her. Elias's eyes widened with understanding. It's rejecting itself. The core can't reabsorb its own energy. The ship's alarms reached a fever pitch. Marcus's voice boomed through the comm. 30 seconds to station docking. Whatever you're doing, finish it. Liv fell to her knees as the last of the black substance left her body. The detached tendril writhed on the floor, its red glow fading. Outside the ship, the reforming sphere pulsed erratically. Elias helped her up. Now what? Liv's smile was grim. Now we return as sender. She slammed her palm against the emergency airlock controls. The outer doors exploded open, and a dying tendril was sucked into the void, straight toward the unstable sphere. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then space itself seemed to scream. The sphere imploded in a flash of crimson light, taking the remaining debris with it. The shockwave sent their ship spinning, but Marcus's whoop of triumph rang through the ship. We're clear. Liv collapsed against the wall as the UEC station's docking clamps secured their ship. The glyphs on her arm faded to faint scars. Elias let out a shaky laugh. You realize we'll be in quarantine for months after this. Liv watched through the viewport as station med teams in hazard suits swarmed toward their ship. The last whisper of the alien presence echoed her mind. Not angry, but grateful. Free. Marcus joined them, his usual smirk back in place. Next time, I picked the vacation spot. Liv chuckled, rolling her stiff shoulder. Deal. As the decontamination sprays hissed to life around them, she realized something. The whispers were gone. Really gone. For now. And that was the end of the story. Comment below if you want the next chapter, and hit that like button. Please subscribe, turn on the bell, and as always, keep the last light burning.